Hi everyone, this is Aishleen from the Online Village for Mums. I haven't been on here for a wee while. There has been a bit happening and I want to tell you some of it. I found it interesting and I hope that you will as well. I have been on videos before here and mentioned that I have three children. My youngest, Rónan, my son, he passed away when he was 5 months old and he would be 2.5 had he lived. So just recently we had his second anniversary of his death and or his transition to heaven, whatever you want to refer to it as. It changes for me. I change what I say all the time, depending on how I'm feeling, I guess, or what I identify with at the time. What it's been difficult, certainly has, as the lead up to these anniversaries, for whatever reason, are difficult. I mean, you get difficult days. You know, it is difficult. It's not easy. Grief is just something you have to go through, and there is no right way. There is no wrong way. There is harder days than others, and there is a certain, you're not even preparing for the anniversary. It just builds up within you. It's like you can feel it coming, and it brings everything to the surface, and everything just comes back full force. More than it did in those in-between periods, although you still get the days on and off when you feel like that. I think for the most part I have done pretty well. The first 6 months floored me. I was basically no good to anybody. I did my best. I did what I needed to do, certainly tried really hard, but it was so tough. And I've been back to work and I have been functioning and I've actually done pretty well. I have come good in a way. I've had a real change. It's changed me as a person. It's changed my whole outlook on life. It has changed everything I want from life. Is fundamentally different having had that experience. And if you've been in that situation, you probably know that yourself anyway. So the lead up to the anniversary, for whatever reason, it does get tougher. But I coped reasonably well. The 11th of June was Rónan's second anniversary. And unfortunately, on the 13th of June was my husband's brother's anniversary. Joseph, great fella, just such a gentleman. And he is Rónan's godfather as well. Joseph passed away on the 13th of June, a year after Rónan. So it was his first year anniversary this year. In that same week, on the 15th of June, Colm's other brother, Oliver, got married, and Joseph was to be best man for that wedding. But Colm stepped in, given the circumstances. It was a lovely wedding. It was a really beautiful wedding and a lovely day. The whole thing went really, really well, but there still was obviously an undertone of just Joseph wasn't there at the time and Rónan wasn't there. And although Rónan's anniversary was at the start of the week, I feel as though I didn't let myself fully let my guard down until after the rest of that week had taken place. I didn't want to completely fall apart or anything, just in case I couldn't put myself back together well enough for going out in public at the wedding and looking after the girls at the wedding. But it turned out well and we all got through the day and it was a lovely day, and I think that Joseph and Rónan would have been really, really proud of everybody, and it was just beautiful, and I'm really glad that we did get that experience. But it was tough too. I was exhausted. Grief is mentally and emotionally draining, and when you get these bouts, these lead-ups coming up to anniversaries or other big events, it's particularly more draining, I find, than on the everyday experience. So what I have done is, since then, a friend of mine has been in contact with me. His name is Bruce Cartwright, and Bruce I met, we were doing a course at the same time, and he reached out to me having heard about Rónan and the experience that we've had, and he offered me the treatment that he does, which is called, now I hope I get this right, Bruce, if I'm saying it, Eutaptics or FasterEFT. And it really is like nothing I've experienced before. It was really, really good. I am so glad that Bruce reached out to me. I didn't really know it existed, didn't know much about it. So to have experienced it was just what I needed, to be perfectly honest with you. I have mentioned that I've had other therapies and other services in the past, which definitely have been a huge help for other things as well as bereavement. That being said, bereavement is something you have to go through and find your way through and find what works for you. If you have had a bereavement, if you're going through grief, if you have experienced a trauma of some kind, I would definitely recommend Bruce Cartwright. He is from New Life. I will link his page below this post, and it's fantastic. He has, we met the first time in Starbucks, and that's the first time I realised actually that Bruce was offering me this treatment. And we sat there, and it is strange. Now, you have to be open-minded. You have to appreciate that it is not a talking therapy as such, although you will be talking. And I sat there with my eyes closed in the corner of Starbucks, the outside in the garden. There wasn't that many people around. But if you did happen to see us, it was really good what we were doing. And I got a lot from it. So I'd have my eyes closed and I would revisit what it was like before Rónan, before the pregnancy, before we got the news, when we got the news in the pregnancy at 17 weeks and how that felt. And although I've talked about it before and I've dealt with my mind side of understanding all of that before, I think those sort of traumas, they sit in you, in your body, in a visceral response, in a real, almost like it's in every cell of your body. It's just trauma stays with you. I don't understand that well, but we're more than just our bodies. We're more than just our minds. We are connected. And for me, I felt as if I was carrying it. And then talking to Bruce about these particular parts of the story, of our story as it happened. And he would, whatever he would do, he'd talk me through it and give me the things to say, and he'd tap in various precise points and not just randomly. And it felt like this release. It felt like I was actually letting it go. And we didn't get very long that particular day in Starbucks, and we booked another session. And as I was driving off, I felt as though when I look back on those memories, I could still remember them clearly. They didn't wash away my memories, they didn't take them away, but I was more of an observer to the memory and honouring the memory. And I didn't feel the same body, fear, tense, tight, visceral reaction or the trauma. It wasn't the same. It seemed to be lifted to some degree. And it was like nothing I've had before. So I definitely would recommend Bruce. And I saw him again. We had another 2 hours and we did more, and I covered almost the rest of the story. Rónan had a very, very long and complex and chaotic at times and traumatic at times and absolutely beautiful at times story. His life was eventful, to say the least. And I didn't realise how much some of the traumas were still sitting with me. It was nice to go over them, to think about them, to release them, to let them go, but not gone for good. I still have the memories. Just the pain associated with them isn't as great as it was beforehand. And the other wonderful thing was I got to really focus on the amazing memories. I got to focus on the beautiful times that we had together and really, really sink that in even deeper. So I feel as though what I have done is I have gained a sense of connection with Rónan more than before, because the pain is just not as intense. It has gone to a degree and replaced all these memories of love, and the good times are so enhanced. And I felt lighter when I left, and I not need to see Bruce again, obviously, unless something else crops up, but I felt so light afterwards, I felt as though I was holding my body really, really tensely and tight. My whole body was just completely, I don't know, it just got used to being that way. And then when I left, I felt like the weight had gone. Rónan is still not with me. He is still not here physically with me. He's still here with me in spirit. And I do believe that. And I feel his presence in spirit. But I don't feel as tense. I feel like that love connection is still there. But the pain and the trauma has eased, and I feel lighter. So if you are experiencing a bereavement, I would recommend trying different things, trying if there is something that could work for you. And certainly this particular treatment was a beautiful, pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting it to help me as much as it did. And I spoke to Bruce as well and explained that the Online Village for Mums is a page that I'm very passionate about, helping and supporting mums who have had their own difficulties. And I know that there's mums that have birth trauma, and if you've had a birth trauma or anything like that, give it a go. Give it a try. See if there is anything it can release from you. It's better to feel lighter. It doesn't take away the experience. It doesn't take away your memories. But it takes away that physical association with them that you don't even realise you're carrying. So, thank you, Bruce. I'm going to be having Bruce on here on the podcast as well to talk more about the treatment, because I really am not doing it justice and I don't know how to explain it. I just know how it felt for me. So thank you. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk again soon. Bye.